Hello followers, Vidith22 here. If you have a scary story you'd like to feature on the channel, send it in at vidith22stories@gmail.com. Link in description. Now, on to the video.
I found the journal of a witch. To be specific, I found the journal of an accused witch. It was in a dilapidated ash grove plantation, which had been abandoned for more than a century and a half, since the death of its master, Jean-Louis Alphonse Laverge, and the disappearance of its mistress, Marie-Rose Catherine Gauthier. The former ash grove plantation has been reclaimed by the swamplands which surrounded it, the holly and the ivy growing uncontrollably, the unkempt rose bushes in the garden enveloping the pillars in front of the doors to the manor. I was there to photograph the plantation for my collection of photographs of plantations in Louisiana, and per usual I searched through the manor before I photographed it. When I searched through the mistress's bedroom, I discovered an antique desk which held within an old tattered journal. I was confused as to how the journal went apparently undiscovered for a century and a half, and therefore I decided to read through it. As the early entries of the journal were too faded to read, the journal now begins on March 19th, 1823. My wedding day, La Fête de Saint Joseph, the feast of Saint Joseph. I pray that I am as dutiful a wife as Saint Joseph was a dutiful husband. May God bless us. Love, Rosa. It was through research at the local library that I discovered the facts about Marie-Rose Catherine Laverge. She was born December 8th, 1800, in Louisiana, the third child of an eventual 13 of Jean-Baptiste Louis Gauthier and Marie-Anne Joanna Joseph Rodriguez Alvarez, the master and mistress of the Myrtlewood plantation near New Orleans. Rosa was baptized in the Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, King of France, in the Roman Catholic faith of her parents. As the eldest daughter of the Gauthier family, she had numerous suitors prior to her marriage to Jean-Louis Alphonse Laverge on March 19th, 1823. Her parent-in-law, Louis Auguste Laverge and Marie Elizabeth Broussard, were the master and mistress of Ash Grove Plantation, which was given to Alphonse and Rosa as a wedding present, after which her parent-in-laws moved to a smaller estate of theirs to the north of New Orleans. Her journal describes her life for the next 4 years until the death of her husband. Many of the pages are too faded to the point they cannot be read, and therefore I have selected the most pertinent entries to illustrate the life story of the alleged witch of Ash Grove. My notes are in brackets. 20th of March, 1823. I have moved into the Ash Grove. However, I am not deaf to the stories which circulate among the servants. The manor has an aura to it, madame. A footboy explained to me as he told the history of the plantation. A bad aura. The master, before Papa, died at the hands of his mistress, who subsequently took her own life by hanging herself from the balcony. 'Twas a ghastly tale, but I do not know if I should believe it. Why would the mistress, Laverge, do such a thing? I dare not ask Alphonse, for fear of his admonishment as an overly superstitious woman. Perhaps I should ask my maids. Love, Rosa. 27th of March, 1823. I have asked about the veracity of the story which was told to me by the footboy. My maids were in accord with his account of the deaths of Papa's eldest brother and his wife. If I am to be honest, I am uncomfortable with the thought of living in a manor where such a tragedy occurred. But the Ash Grove is the family plantation. We cannot leave it to the swamplands. None of my maids were able to provide an adequate explanation as to why Mistress Laverge committed such a horrific act The consensus among the servants seems to be, she went mad. Why did she go mad? I would ask more of my servants. If I were not afraid of Alphonse finding out about my inquiries. Why? Love, Rosa. 1st of April, 1823. The maids have at last given me an adequate explanation as to why Mistress Lavange might have committed such an horrific act. She had brought forth her firstborn son 3 days prior to her suicide. The child did not survive the travails of labour. He was unsuitable to be baptized before his death, and Mistress Lavange was heartbroken. Her heartbreak then gave cause for the servants to say she went mad. On the 13th of October 1797, she stabbed Master Lavange, her husband, to death, and she hanged herself with a makeshift noose from the balcony, which was accessible from her bedroom. She explained her actions in a letter, which she penned to the child who never saw life. The letter was given to Papa, who promptly burned it. Oh God, Lord and the giver of life, have mercy on their pitiable souls. Love, Rosa. The 3rd of May, 1823. The monthly custom of woman has ceased to be upon me. O God, Lord the giver of life, I shall be a mother. I pray that I am a loving mother to my dearest Alphonse's children. May God bless us. Love, Rosa. 5th of May, 1823. I have informed Alphonse of my condition. He was overjoyed. We shall be a complete family. Love, Rosa. 10th of June, 1823. Although I am loath to admit it, my fears have gotten the better of me. I have insisted that Alphonse permit me to bring forth our firstborn child in my childhood home, Myrtle Wood Plantation. I did not tell him why I wanted it to be so, but I could not fathom giving birth in the room in which a woman went mad after she lost her child. I will return to the Ash Grove after the time has come for me to be delivered. Love, Rosa. 8th of August, 1823. I have felt the quickening of my child within me. How beautiful, glorious, wonderful life is. Love, Rosa. 2nd of January, 1824. I have brought forth, on January 1st, 1824, our firstborn son at Myrtlewood. Alphonse and I are overjoyed at having an heir to the name Lavange. 5th of January, 1824. Our son was baptized Jean-Louis Auguste Lavange in the Cathedral of St. Louis, King of France. Mama has conferred his name on him in Spanish, Jean-Louis Augusto, my Louisto. We shall return to the Ash Grove soon. Love, Rosa. 10th of January, 1824. I have returned to the Ash Grove with Louisto. He is a beautiful baby boy. Alphonse and I are closer than ever before. May God bless us. Love, Rosa. Jean-Louis Augusto, or Louisto, Lavange, born January 1st, 1824, died of causes unknown on February 7th, 1824, a month and a half after his birth. A requiem mass was celebrated on February 14th, and he was buried in the Lavange Mausoleum in the St. Louis Cemetery, No. 1 in New Orleans. Rosa did not write in her journal for a month. Her journal entries resume on the Feast of the Annunciation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, March 25th, 1824. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. 27th of March, 1824. Are the servants correct in their assumptions that Ash Grove had something to do with the untimely death of my Louisto? I do not know. Perhaps I should speak with them. Love, Rosa. 28th of March, 1824. Last night, I made my way to the servants' quarters, and I spoke with them about the history of Ash Grove. There are rumours that have persisted from generation to generation that the Ash Grove was the location of a slave burial ground, which was kept by a voodoo priestess. Are the rumours true? What an unholy place. 'Tis overshadowed with the powers of darkness. My poor child. He was an unfortunate victim of the Ash Grove. Love, Rosa. 30th of March, 1824, I summoned all the courage within me to reveal to Alphonse the knowledge imparted unto me by the servants regarding the history of the Ash Grove. Before his family owned the land, there was a slave burial ground located near the swamplands. However, he dismissed me, claiming that 'tis superstition. We argued about the possible claim that the powers of darkness might have staked on the land on which the manor now stands. He believes neither me nor the servants. Furthermore, he believes that I am blinded by my grief. I am blinded by my grief. I do not know. Is he blinded by ignorance? Love, Rosa. 31st of March, 1824. The eldest of the servants confirmed the rumours that before the family Lavange bought the land in 1760, it was near the site of an unmarked slave burial ground, which was kept by a voodoo priestess who lived in a cabin in the swamplands. Oh God, what sacrilege have we committed by living on top of the resting place of human beings? Perhaps the song that their souls were singing to the Lord called to my Luisto. 1st of April, 1824. I revealed all the information which I uncovered about the Ash Grove and its history to Alfonso. He was more supportive than he was when I last spoke to him, and he consoled me as I cried. My Luisto, why did he have to be taken from me? Alphonse suggested that we request a blessing of the Ash Grove to be performed by Pier Antonio. We shall send for him soon. Love, Rosa. 4th of April, 1824. Pier Antonio performed the blessing on the Ash Grove without incident. He eased my fears regarding the history of the plantation, reciting, God will strengthen and keep you from evil. After the blessing of Pier Antonio, I have felt great peace, the most peace I have felt since my wedding day. Love, Rosa. 4th of July, 1824. The monthly custom of woman has again ceased to be upon me. O God, Lord, the giver of life, I shall be a mother once more. I pray that I am a loving mother, my dearest Alphonse's children. May God bless us. Love, Rosa. 2nd of November, 1824. Le Jour des Morts, Day of the Dead. May all of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. I wonder if my Luisto is enjoying the splendour of paradise. Love, Rosa. 5th of November, 1824. I have felt the quickening of my child within me. How beautiful life is. Love, Rosa. 8th of April, 1825. I have brought forth, on April 4th, 1825, our firstborn daughter, at the Ash Grove. A son belongs to the world, but a daughter belongs to her mother. She was breech, but she was able to be born without complications, due to the expertise of Maman, Marie Elizabeth Boussard Lavange. Love, Rosa. 10th of April, 1825. Our daughter was baptized Marie Elizabeth Jean Joseph in the cathedral. Mama has conferred her name on her in Spanish, Marie Isabel Joan Josefa Belita, my Belita. Love, Rosa. 17th of April, 1825. I am afraid to hold Belita, nurse Belita, or even be in the presence of Belita. What if I was the cause of Luisto's death? I love Belita with all of my heart and soul, and I could not bear losing another child. Perhaps my mind would go as the previous mistress Lavange did. Rosa. 24th of April, 1825. My sister-in-law, Marie-Louise Anne Lavange Robuchon, came to visit Belita today and inquired after my health. I confided in her my fears regarding the plantation, Luisto's death, and Belita. Although she was loath to admit it, she confided in me that the rumours have begun to spread in town regarding my visits to the servants' quarters to learn about the history of the Ash Grove. It is rumoured that I had an affair with a servant, and 'tis the reason why I avoid Belita, as she is the reminder in flesh and blood of my sin against my husband and my God. Where would such a rumour start? It may have been one of my maids. Rosa. 1st of May, 1825. The rumour was indeed started by one of my maids, Madeline. She was dismissed from my service after Pâques, Easter, and she sought to revenge herself by implying that I was an adulteress. How dreadful. Alfonso remains ignorant of any rumour. I will have to speak to him before he hears it from the lips of another. Rosa. 2nd of May, 1825. I spoke with Alfonso about the rumour of my infidelity. Although I explained that it originated from the mouth of a discharged maid, he was still angry with me for having visited the servants' quarters in the first place. How dare you go against my word? I do not know what I did wrong. I disobeyed my husband, but it was to clarify the rumours regarding the Ash Grove. I apologised, but he stormed away in a huff. I pray that he does not believe the rumours. I have been nothing if not faithful to him. Rosa. 3rd of May, 1825. Alfonso spoke with me in a calm, dignified manner, and he asked me if there was any veracity to the rumours of my infidelity. I answered with vehemence, no. He believed me, and he consoled me as I told him through my tears that I am afraid of growing close to our daughter, because I could not bear losing another child. He held me close as I sobbed. With Alfonso's strength, I feel able to grow close to Belita. I want us to be a happy family. Love, Rosa. 3rd of June, 1825. Although Madeline repented of her role in starting the rumour of my infidelity, the rumours have nevertheless continued to spread. The latest version of the rumour is that I have visited the servants' quarters to dabble in their voodoo to communicate with the soul of my Luisto. What a terrible lie. I have not strayed from my husband, nor have I strayed from my God. I pray for the repose of the soul of my dearest Luisto each day. Rosa. 1st of October, 1825. The monthly custom of woman has once more ceased to be upon me. Love, Rosa. 25th of November, 1825. With my belly growing big with child, I sat outside the manor, and I was approached by a pair of young African-American children. I assumed that they were the children of the servants, but they began to sing a song. Mother of many, mother of none, after this one, her mind shall be undone. The children pointed at my belly as they repeated the song. I asked them, what do you mean? They stopped their song, and they laughed a laugh that had none of the whimsy of a child's laughter. As I began to approach them, they ran off, and I saw them disappear into the woods to the back of the manor. Who were they, and where were they headed? Rosa. 30th of November, 1825. Without the permission of Alfonso, I ventured into the woods to the back of the manor. As I entered the woods proper, I saw the children. They held out their hands as if they were my guides to a destination unknown to me. We walked through a long stretch of the woods before we came upon a cabin. The children released my hands as I walked towards the cabin. Before I knocked on the door, I looked back to the children, who had vanished like smoke. Were they ever really there? The door to the cabin opened on its own, and I went inside. The interior of the cabin was cluttered with books, which ranged in topics from cooking to history. There were books which were about voodoo, witchcraft. However, the cabin appeared uninhabited. Was this the cabin of the voodoo priestess? If so, where was she? There was a letter on the table in the cabin, but I had to leave before I could investigate further because I felt faint. I was able to exit the woods without any assistance. I returned to the manor, and I rested on my bed. I did not speak to Alphonse of my discovery, because I was afraid of his admonishment for entering the woods in my condition. However, I could not stop wondering, are the legends founded in truth? Sin never dies. Sin never dies. And now perhaps the devil has come home. Rosa. 10th of December, 1825. The rumours regarding my involvement with the servants has escalated. Madeline has claimed innocence with regards to these rumours, but I do not know if I trust her. I am now accused of dabbling in the voodoo of the servants to cause the deaths of Alphonse and our children that I might run off with the servant who is supposed to be my lover. How awful. I have already been accused of adultery, and now I am accused of being nothing better than a murderous witch. When will these rumours come to an end? Will they come to an end? Rosa. 7th of July, 1826. The child was born dead. Will my heart ever cease from breaking? Rosa. Although he was stillbirth, Rosa named her son Jean-Baptiste Louis Baptiste Lavange. A requiem mass was celebrated on July 14th, and he was buried in the Lavange Mausoleum in the St. Louis Cemetery, No. 1, in New Orleans. Rosa did not write in a journal for 9.5 months. Her journal entries resume on Easter Sunday, April 15th, 1827. The Lord gave, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. 1st of May, 1827. My Luisto and Baptisto, why were they taken from me? I love my husband with all my heart, but I cannot live in this manner. Encompassed by the sorrows of death, I am returning to Myrtlewood with Bellita, Rosa. 3rd of May, 1827. Bellita fell ill before we could leave the ash grove for Myrtlewood. She and Alfonso have been stricken with yellow fever. O God, Lord, the giver of life, have mercy on us. Rosa. Jean-Louis Alphonse Lavange, born September 15th, 1800, and Marie Elizabeth Jean-Joseph Bellita Lavange, born April 4th, 1825, died of yellow fever on May the 10th and May the 13th, 1827, respectively. A double requiem mass was celebrated on May 20th, and they were buried in the Lavange Mausoleum in the St. Louis Cemetery, No. 1, in New Orleans. Rosa continued to write in her journal the day after the funeral, May 21st, 1827. The page is stained with her tears. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I am alone. Rosa. 22nd of May, 1827. A rock was thrown through the window in their front parlour. There was a note attached to the rock which read, Witches, thou shalt not suffer to live. 27th of May, 1827. The servants have attempted to console me to no avail. My heart has been rent in two, and it was buried with my husband and children. 31st of May, 1827. I have visited the stables on the grounds. As I gazed upon the horses in the stables, I contemplated using one of the halters in the manner of Judas Iscarioto, who hanged himself after he betrayed his Lord. Should I commit the unforgivable sin? I do not know if anyone would care if I would do so. To the family, I am unsound widow Lavange. To the servants, I am a woman to be pitied. To the townspeople, I am an adulterous witch. I do not know which one I am. 1st of June, 1827. A rock was again thrown through the window in the front parlour. There was no note attached to it, but it was joined by a barrage of stones which shattered the glass of the window. There is a mob outside reciting, Witches thou shalt not suffer to live. A man yelled, You killed him, didn't you, witch? Where shall I go? The servants have fled. I have no one to protect me from the fury of the mob. The cabin. I shall go to the cabin. Perhaps I shall find protection there. I hear the voice of my dearest Alfonso. Come to the cabin, Rosita. He calls to me. I can see him with our children, and the African-American children. The mob draws closer. I have lost everything, but that was perhaps the path to gain something wondrous. All of my love, Rosa. The journal ends with a final entry, dated June 1st, 1827. Marie Rose Catherine, Rosa Lavange, was never seen again. According to my research in the local library, Rosa was never mentioned in the wills of her parents. It was as if she had never existed. The name of the plantation, Ash Grove, originated probably from the legendary voodoo priestess who lived in the swamplands which surrounded the manor. When she used fire in her rituals, the townspeople claimed that they could see it through the thick of the trees. From the ashes of her fires, The family Lavange built up the manor of the Ash Grove. The family Lavange were from the north of New Orleans, and they were apparently ignorant of the history of the land known as the Ash Grove, which was chosen as its name by the first master, Louis Philippe Lavange. After I read through her journal, I was curious about what happened to Marie Rose Catherine. Due to my curiosity, I ventured into the woods to the back of the manor. As I walked further into the woods, I noticed a group of 5 children running through the trees, along with an adult man. I began to feel faint. Eventually, I happened upon a cabin in the middle of the woods, the doorway of which was being casually swept with a broom by a young woman with ringlets in her hair. She appeared to be in her mid to late 20s. She turned around. She smiled as she said, "Welcome to Ash Grove."